Hey everybody, welcome back. Mike from Spectre Comics. The title of this video is It Begins, and that's in reference to getting back on the tablet and working on Spectre Comics. We're going to start inking. I did a series of videos in the last couple weeks where we were just finishing up the pencils, and I used these YouTube videos where I was kind of talking about aspects of drawing the comic, laying it out. I was working on pencils then, we were filming it a different way, but now we finished that and we're going to jump into the inking process. I'm going to kind of do the same thing where I make videos and content related to working on a comic and drawing, and mostly working on a tablet because that's what we've transitioned to. And one of the things that I found was the most difficult is I've been working on paper for the last year, and as I jumped back into working on a tablet again, I just found how difficult it is to get used to it again if you're not used to it. I have worked sparingly on my tablet in the last couple years, but not in the essence of like fully drawing and working on it. So I kind of had to relearn how to draw on a tablet on a surface that's not paper, and I'm getting the hang of it again, but I actually really enjoy drawing on paper again. There's just a little more texture there, and I know they have covers you can put on your tablet so that it feels more like paper. I don't have that. I do have a screen protector on, but it does not have the same grip or grit that a piece of paper does. But working on Spectre Comics issue 7, page 1, and as you can see on the screen, the title of this issue is The Ori, and the Ori, if you are not familiar with my comic, which most of you probably are not, is the name of the enemy that is been mentioned throughout the story. And again, this is issue 7 of 8 issues in this story, and the Ori are seen here and there throughout the earlier issues, but now we're finally getting to the climax of the story where we're doing the confrontation. And the establishing shot of the first page of this comic is on an alien asteroid in the middle of a remote sector of space called the Alari sector, and we're on a mining facility. That's what this building is on the asteroid, and we've got the protagonist characters, the Spectre characters, are moving towards this facility in order to rescue some of their friends who were kidnapped. Trouble I've had with this issue is that I've had this enemy character who we haven't seen yet. It's this captain character right down here. Captain Gorgo is his name, and I actually did a whole video where I designed the character, but I just haven't drawn him enough to get used to how to draw him from every angle. And so these little sketches in here are kind of placeholders because they're just not really showing him the way I want to show him. He's not part of the design. I actually have a drawing. This is from the video that I did a while ago, and I'll link that in the description below, where I did the design of this character. And the captain's supposed to be, he's an Ori, but he's larger. He's more intimidating because there's going to be a final confrontation at the end of this story where the Spectre, and he's got to be able to look like he can take on the whole Spectre team on his own without any backup. And so I need him to be bigger and more intimidating and more menacing than the other Ori, who are just basically foot soldiers. Most of them, you can see one here is just, he has a helmet, he's got a staff, he's got his uniform, but they all look the same. They're kind of like stormtroopers in Star Wars, where they're just foot soldiers that just follow orders. And the captain is the one character in this issue, in this story, that is going to be the brains of the operation. He's the one who gives the orders, but he's also battle tested, and he's the most intimidating. Now I want to talk about the actual comic page, because we're again getting back to inking, and I do black and white comics, and what I like to do is add gray tones to the comic. So you'll see the top half of this page is pretty much done, except for the text and the word balloons that will inherently be part of this. Because I'm not showing you a page from scratch, and I will do that in a future video, but what's on this page in the layers beneath this finished layer is a bunch of pencil sketches from kind of like what we did in the earlier videos, which I penciled the whole comic out really loosely, laid out the page, scanned it in, and then brought it into Photoshop so that it could be kind of used as a background to lay out the entire comic page. For stuff that's a little more complicated, like the mining facility here, I actually build SketchUp models of this, and I pick a view, and then I clip that view, I bring it into the comic, and I'll just trace it. And I know it maybe not, I don't care if anybody says it's cheating. For me, this is about getting something to look accurate and getting it done quickly. So instead of wasting a lot of time drawing something over and over again, I do one design in SketchUp, which I'll show you in a minute, and then I bring a clip in, and a clip of like that building looks like this, where I just clip it right from the SketchUp model. I pick the view I want, I'll bring it in, I'll put it, at a 50% opacity like this, bring it down, so I can kind of see it, and then I'll just draw the dark lines right over it and add all the detail in. And this for me just saves time, because I have to, I designed this crazy building that's got a lot of complex lines and features on it, and instead of having to draw it from scratch, I use SketchUp to bring that model in. Another thing that was built in SketchUp was this little ship here, and if you saw the last issue, or the last page that I sketched a couple videos ago, this ship is brand new to this issue and to this comic story. It's going to be pivotal. This ship will play an important part going forward, but it was newly designed just for the last scene of the last issue. And I didn't reveal that last panel because I wanted to keep some sort of surprise, but the idea was that this ship, which is a transport ship for prisoners, played a role in that last scene of the last page that I penciled and filmed. The inside of the tower, so we've got the mining facility here, we've got the tower here, which is where the Captain Gorgo, sits and gives his orders from, and can observe the asteroid from where he's ruling over these Ori foot soldiers. I do a close-up telling you that we're kind of focusing in on the tower, and then we have an inside shot of the tower where the captain's looking out with one of the soldiers talking to him. And so now things are starting to happen where the Ori are starting to become aware that somebody has infiltrated their security and maybe on the premises, and they've got to kind of be alert. So that's what's going on in this page. Now, I did also build a model of the interior of the captain's throne room, where he's kind of looking out, and I used that as well as one of in fact, these two shots here, even though this is not done quite yet, the background here where there's the door and the chair are part of that SketchUp model. And forgive my crude, sketchy, again, part of what I did in the earlier comic was create a sketch, very loose. And again, when I did the captain here, I didn't fully design him yet. He didn't look like you did now, but I needed kind of a placeholder so I could not be hung up on the design of this character yet. I wanted to just get the story on paper and lay out the page. Now let's look at some of the other SketchUp models that I was talking about. Let's take a look at the throne room. Now, kind of like I built this throne room model as it loads here, and I did two of them. I built one version where it's the space and it's kind of fully intact, and then I built another one where I pulled off the front window. You can see it kind of out here in the front, so that I can have a close-up view of what was going on without having the glass of that the front windows kind of interfering with what I'm showing. So I just copied the model over and then just extracted the front face of that window out so that I had a clear view of what was going on inside, like this. That way I could get the shot of the doors and the desk behind, and then there's a monitor on the wall, stuff like that. So that is the throne room. If we take a look at the mining facility, you'll see both the entire mining facility, which was a very complex model to build. I actually took an image of a mountain range, if I could zoom out here. Whoops, a little below the horizon here. So I actually built a lot of things, kind of almost like a big set for this whole facility, because it wasn't just the mining facility and the mining facility embedded in the mountain. It was the tower, which you can see up there, and it was the ship, which I just placed here because it was part of that shot, and I wanted to see what it looked like in front of the building. But if you look off in the distance here, I actually built this platform with the Ori vessel. These are the Ori ships that go out into space to kidnap slave labor for their camp, for their mining facility. So we do have a shot in one of my earlier issues where we're looking here at this ship, and we have the prisoners getting unloaded from the dock. from the prisoner hold in the back of the ship, and then they go down the platform and head towards the mining facility. So this was a much more complex model, built over a long period of time, but built once, I can take whatever shot I need, bring it into my comic page just by clipping it and placing it in there, and then using it as an overlay or as an underlay to draw what is on that page. And those are the 2 or 3 models that I've actually used just alone on this first page as backdrops for the scenes of this page. That includes the mining facility, the recon ship, and the interior of that throne room. Multiple views on each can be seen. When I'm laying out my pencils, I just kind of sketch it out quickly as just like a quick kind of perspective of whatever I'm looking at. And another reason why this is a harder page, it's taking a little longer to do, is because I've got all new characters that I don't draw all the time. I don't even think I see the main Spectre characters until page 3 or 4 of this issue, because the first scene is with these Ori characters at the mining facility, kind of talking about what's going on from their perspective. We haven't had their perspective before in the story. This is the first time. So now we're looking at it from their perspective. And the reason I even bring this up is because I don't draw these characters all the time. It does take longer. When I draw my Spectre characters, they go much quicker because I've drawn them thousands of times over many years. So that will go a little faster once I get to a scene where there's things that I've drawn a lot. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. Again, it begins. We are starting on the tablet, working on the inking of Spectre comics. If I haven't mentioned it, I do black and white comics. It takes too long to color. Maybe someday in the future I'll get to coloring these things. Maybe when I'm retired and that's all I have to do as I'm sitting on my old rocker chair. I'm also trying to get into live streaming, so I've just been working on a setup to get a live stream going where I work on the comics and I talk about what I'm doing, and hopefully people watch and interact with me while I'm doing it. So stay tuned for that. We're working on setting that up. I'm getting ready to start doing that in the next week or two. Getting very close to the entire setup being ready. I've just never done it before, so I'm just kind of learning a new skill as I'm doing that. But appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for more videos. They'll be linked in the description below as this series continues. And if you have any questions, comments, put that in the comments section. Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. We will see you next time. Have a great day.